Hi, this is a DBQ, document-based questions inquiry that we're going to be doing about the Japanese American incarceration. So we're going to be looking at the World War II home front, and we're basically going to be asking the question, why did the United States government incarcerate Japanese Americans during World War II? And this is the central historical question. We're going to be looking at a slideshow, and then we're going to be looking at this timeline that I have up there. And then we're going to have documents. That's a video that you're going to watch. And then there's going to be B, C, D, E. So there's going to be some documents for you to look at. And then there's going to be questions that you're going to be reviewing and answering the questions to try to figure out the basic essential question. Why do you think the Americans interned and incarcerated Japanese Americans during World War II? So I'm going to be going through basically this timeline in these documents. I have a PowerPoint for you to look at, and then I've got some videos for you to do and for you to look at. So that's basically what we're going to do now is look through the PowerPoint, and we're going to go through that. You can take some notes and look at the PowerPoint. So Japanese American incarceration. So this is going to introduce you to the topic, frame the historical question. So over 250,000 immigrants came to the United States from Japan between 1860 and 1923. This migration ground to a halt with the passage of the Immigration Act of 1924, which outlawed nearly all Japanese immigration. By 1940, over 125,000 people of Japanese origin or descent lived in the contiguous 48 states, with the highest populations in the states on the West Coast, and over 150,000 lived in the territory of Hawaii at this time. Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. On December 17th, 1941, Japanese attacked the military base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, killing over 2,400 people. The United States declared war on Japan the next day, and 4 days later, Germany and Italy, who were allied with Japan, declared war on the United States. The United States was now fully enmeshed in World War II. So World War II started in 1939. We were isolationists. We weren't involved until 1941, and that was the end of the year, December 7th, 1941. Executive Order 9066 on February 19th, 1942, a little over 2 months after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, President Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066. The order declared that the Secretary of War and other military commanders had the power to establish military areas within the United States and to exclude any and all persons from these areas. Military leaders then designated California, southern Arizona, western Oregon, and the western Washington as military areas, and ordered the removal of all people of Japanese descent from these areas, regardless of whether they were American citizens or not. So you can look at the map, WRCA Relocation Center, Isolation Center, Temporary Camp, Justice Department facility. So you're looking at Poston, Gila River. So then you're looking at Manzanar, Topaz, Grenada. So all of these different places where you could find the relocation centers that they had. So we had them in Arizona. We had them in different areas, and you can see where they were. They weren't too far from us. There's Cave Creek, Camp Florence. You have these different areas, so Gila River, and that was the main one, the Gila River area. That's where we had ours. In the spring of 1942, over 110,000 people of Japanese origin or ancestry in the designated military areas, but not in Hawaii or other areas of the country, were forced to leave their homes and imprisoned without trial. There was no evidence that any of these individuals were disloyal or posed any threat to the United States. They're first ordered to report to the so-called assembly centers on the West Coast. They were then given little time to prepare and were told little about what awaited them. They were only allowed to bring whatever they could carry to the assembly centers and were forced either to abandon their other possessions or sell them quickly at bargain prices. After several months of imprisonment at these makeshift centers, they were transferred to one of 10 permanent incarceration camps. These camps were located in isolated parts of the interior of the country, and they were surrounded by fences with guard towers. The camps provided simple barrack-style living quarters and provided very basic services, including schools and hospitals. Internment of other groups. The federal government also incarcerated people of German and Italian descent, including American citizens. However, people from these groups were not incarcerated in mass based only on their race and ethnicity, as were the people of Japanese descent. Rather, individuals from these groups were incarcerated if the government suspected them of disloyalty or believed that they were a threat, however baseless or spurious these suspicions may have been. Overall, over 11,000 people of German descent and 2,700 of Italian descent were imprisoned, compared to over 110,000, maybe 120,000 of Japanese descent. Some of government officials advocated a larger scale internment of these groups, similar to the Japanese, but the idea was never implemented. Both groups were much larger than the population of Japanese descent. Over 1.2 million people living in the United States had been born in Germany. Another 5 million had two parents born in Germany. Further, over 2.4 million had immigrated to the United States from Italy between 1900 and 1920 alone. Unlike Japanese immigrants, immigrants from Germany and Italy could become naturalized citizens and were more socially integrated than Japanese Americans. Populations of German and Italian immigrants and their descendants were also more dispersed throughout the United States than those of Japanese descent, who were concentrated disproportionately on the West Coast. These groups also did not face the racism that people of Japanese origin or descent experienced. Recognizing that incarceration without trial was potentially unlawful, the government began releasing some prisoners that it deemed loyal citizens in 1944, and then released all prisoners in January of 1945. Those released often found their homes in disrepair or damaged by looters, and in some cases even found someone else occupying their homes and businesses. Many of the former prisoners were finally financially ruined by their incarceration, had to start over with nothing. In 1948, the federal government approved $38 million to settle claims of property loss by those who were incarcerated, a small fraction of the actual value. It was decades before the federal government formally acknowledged the injustices of incarceration. President Reagan signed the Civil Liberties Act of 1988. This is President Reagan in the middle in the tan suit, which apologized for the incarceration and approved $20,000 reparation payments to individual victims. Central historical question: why did the United States government incarcerate Japanese Americans during World War II? Today and tomorrow, and basically, we will examine 5 historical documents about incarceration and answer the question: why did the United States government incarcerate Japanese Americans during World War II? So in the first round, beginning round 1, you're going to watch Document A, which is a film on incarceration, and complete the corresponding section of the graphic organizers. The film is available, and I'm going to give you the link for it, and then you're going to fill out the graphic organizer. So right now I'm going to basically show you, this is going to be the film, what it's going to look like. You're going to watch the film, and then you're going to, at the bottom down here, at the bottom, round 1, and you're going to have this and why were Japanese Americans incarcerated during World War II, government newsreel, date, reasons for incarceration suggested by this document, evidence from the document to support these reasons, and then the hypothesis, why were Japanese Americans incarcerated during World War II. Before watching the film, you need to know that this film was made by the United States government sometime in the middle of 1942. And basically, it explained the reasons and strategies for incarcerating Japanese Americans. These kind of films were made to be shown in theaters before the main feature, and movie viewership was fairly high in the 1940s. So you're going to basically stop this video here. You're going to stop here. You're going to go to the link, and you're going to watch the video, and then fill out the graphic organizer for the newsreel. So you're going to fill out this part 1 here after you watch the video. So stop this film now, and then go ahead and watch the film and fill out the organizer, and then I'll start this back up. Well, welcome back. What were some of the reasons for incarceration offered in the newsreel? How does the newsreel portray incarceration? Is it portrayed as positive or negative? Who do you think the audience was for the newsreel? So put that. So now we're going to do round 2. And in round 2, you're going to be looking at documents. So you're going to look at document B, the Munson report, and C, and down here is C, document the crisis. And you're going to read these documents. You're going to complete the graphic organizer. And again, it's at the bottom. You're going to go all the way down to the bottom. So this is round 2. You've got the Munson report and the date, the crisis article and the date, the reasons for incarceration suggested by this document, evidence from the document to support these reasons. Then hypothesis, why were the Japanese Americans incarcerated during World War II? So you're going to be doing both of those. And one of the things you need to look at and see in this hypothesis too, has anyone's hypothesis changed? Why or why not? Did you find these documents more or less trustworthy than the government newsreel? Explain your reasons why. Why is the date of the Munson report important? So when you're looking at hypothesis 2, I want you to write down, has anybody's hypothesis changed? Why or why not? Do you find these documents more or less trustworthy than the government newsreel? And then why is the Munson report important? So go ahead and stop this video. Go ahead and read those 2 documents. So B and C, and then answer the questions in the graphic organizer. And then when you're done and ready to work on round 3, go ahead and start this video. So welcome back. For section 3, round 3, you're going to be looking at documents D and E. So we've got D and E. D is the Korematsu Supreme Court ruling. E is the personal justice denied. So these are documents. And then again, you're going to go back down here and you're going to look at Korematsu versus the United States, date, reasons for incarceration suggested by this document, evidence from the document to support these reasons, personal justice denied, the date, and then answer these. And then go down here, final hypothesis. So you're going to be looking at their shared final hypothesis. Now, at the end of this, which of the documents do you think provides a more reliable explanation of why the United States government incarcerated Japanese Americans? Why were Japanese Americans incarcerated during World War II? I want you to point to evidence in the documents to support your answers here. So this is the last thing that you can do, and give the major reasons why you think they were done, and use the documents and the evidence to do this. So we're going to have basically Thursday and Friday to do this. I'm not collecting it until like Sunday night. So you have time to do this. We would be doing this in class, and we'd be doing it in pairs and in groups of 4. But in this case, you're doing it individually by yourself. So you've got the video, and then you've got video is A, and then you've got B and C, D and E to look at and do that. So you've got 3 rounds, and you're basically trying to find out why were Japanese Americans incarcerated during World War II. And then you have your final hypothesis at the end. Remember, I want you to put which of these documents do you think provides a more reliable explanation of why the U.S. government incarcerated Japanese Americans, and then why were they incarcerated during World War II, and bring evidence. So I'm going to be posting with this assignment on Wednesday night. For Thursday and Friday, I'll be posting this PowerPoint with the Screencastify, the video, and then your timeline and your documents and the worksheets. And you're going to basically have those to fill out and then turn in. And like I said, it's going to be due Sunday night at midnight, 11:59. And then you should be all set. And then next week, we'll be starting this. But this will be for Thursday and Friday. If you have any questions, please see me at office hours. You can also post any questions on this assignment, and hopefully everything is clear. And if you have any questions, please let me know.